All right, got some more draft thoughts, and I'm going to ask the question as well. Who's going to be rocking a white suit while eating barbecue? I'll explain what that means all in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And in this video, this episode, I want to talk about the last set of notes from the draft, as well as who's going to be our person rocking a white suit while eating barbecue. All right, I want to go ahead and add to my draft thoughts. So I've actually posted an episode on Sunday and Monday, kind of giving you my 5 teams that I felt like did really good in NFL drafts, probably my favorites. And I've got 3 more that I wanted to talk through, but I didn't want to talk for like 80 minutes. So I broke them up into 2, and I was initially going to do it with Jimmy as well, but Jimmy ended up being out this week, so this and next, and so I wanted to really readdress those. So let's go into it. So we know San Fran, they got their guy with Trey Lance. I'm happy with that pick. A lot of the talking heads out there, well, a few of them, especially like Bomani, he was mentioning how he felt like Kyle Shanahan wasn't an idiot, like he wasn't a moron, and he showed us that he wasn't. And there was an article in The Athletic about how Shanahan was a little surprised that people actually thought he was going to draft Mac Jones. It's interesting, right? Let's get off of that part. I like the Trey Lance pickup. It's more so because he has a ridiculous upside. That's really the play with Trey Lance. Minimal snaps, so nobody truly knows what he's going to be. But it appears that he has something to him, something about his personality that makes a lot of people feel comfortable. I was listening to Colin Cowherd talk about the exact same thing, and that was one of his big takes. He said he spoke to him, and he came away so impressed that he shot John Lynch a message and said, "Hey, man, like this Trey Lance guy." Lynch was just like, thumbs up. Okay. Type situations. So he had to be mum because he didn't want to, show his hands. And it makes sense if he was that impressive in his interview that they jumped all over him. I can't knock them for that move. So good move on them. It was pretty cool that we also got a lot of players reunited with their former college teammates. So we got some quarterbacks that kind of got some, I guess you could say, security blankets or whatnot added to them. So, of course, Jalen Hurts got Devontae Smith. To talk about that on the other last pod. Joe Burrow gets Jamar Chase. The Bengals drafted him in the top. Their first round pick, which was awesome for Joe Burrow. I think he probably needed linemen more, but hey, we'll work with whatever they give him. And then Tua got Jalen Waddle in this draft. So the Dolphins look like they're going to go ahead and invest in Tua's future, and hopefully he materializes, unless they find a way to trade for Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson becomes available and all of the other stuff that's going on with him slowly gets settled and it disappears. Which, if you want me to be honest, I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a settlement, and it's going to just vanish. And we're going to forget that it even happened, and we'll stop talking about it, unfortunately, because I think it's probably a bigger deal than what we're talking about or what lack of talking about, and it's going to get swept under the rug. That seems to be how those things go. And then Trevor Lawrence got Travis Etienne, his running back from college, is joining him in Jacksonville. So all these quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks got someone that they're more familiar with, to me is a really big deal because it's going to give them that comfort going into the next level. It's always better to go do something with someone because it helps ease some of your own nerves. Even if you're not really a nervous person, it still eases your nerves seeing a familiar face. Going to college, you go to college and you look on campus and you see somebody it's like, hey, I'm not by myself. You don't feel like you're all alone, even though, you're still going to be doing your own thing. It's good for them to have that person that they know well and have played with for a bit to help go on the journey with them. See what I'm saying? Someone to really talk to and confine in. Speaking of the Jags, did y'all see that report that Tim Tebow offered to play tight end for the Jags? So supposedly, I'm not sure how true this is, but Urban Meyer lives down the street from Tim Tebow. Of course, Tim Tebow has done just about every sport under the sun to become a professional and play. Great for him because he has capabilities to even try to compete. Fortunately, he hasn't lasted anywhere, but his home is right there not too far from Urban Meyer. So because of that, supposedly he went up to him and mentioned that he'd be interested in coming to play for them at tight end. He probably saw that Taysom Hill money and was like, I can do that. I think I was kind of the original Taysom Hill. Why not me go sign myself a $140 million contract that's not actually real, but get myself a nice little signing bonus up front? Makes sense. I ain't mad at him. I mean, if you can do it. I mean, Urban Meyer was your coach. I could totally see him pulling you in and just taking advantage and see if it works out. Plus, this was the thing that everyone said Tebow should have done from the beginning because he really was an awful quarterback. He's a big dude who can play tight end. He's athletic. Why not go out there and play tight end? Be a gadget guy or play tight end because you could probably be really good at it. So, we'll see if that happens. Give Trevor Lawrence another target. See what their teams look like. So, going into that, I think that's probably the first time in the history of a first round that you saw these players get reunited with people that they went to college with, but it's another story for another day. Speaking of targets, I feel like there's a target on the back of a specific quarterback up north. That's your boy Kirk Cousins. All right, they drafted Kellen Mond. Is that in the third round? So, Kellen Mond gets drafted. And because he just got drafted, now we got to ask the question. Yep, third round, 66 pick. Are the Vikings looking at moving away from Kirk Cousins? Because it's funny go Google this later after you finish watching the whole video. RG3 had some commentary on it. Robert Griffin III had some commentary on the Kirk Cousins situation and Kellen Mond going up there. And the entire time he referred to him as number 8. Then he eventually said Cousins. But he was calling him number 8. So what makes it even funnier is, of course, it feels like there's still some animosity between him and Kirk Cousins. Not between him and actual Kirk Cousins, but him not liking Kirk Cousins. Because remember, Kirk Cousins was drafted in the same draft as he was. To the point of it made it seem like Robert Griffin III's demise was inevitable, that they were eventually going to go away from him, even though he was Offensive Rookie of the Year. And the only reason why his career was bad is because Kyle Shanahan played him with a messed up knee because they were desperate. But anywho, he makes the statements of number 8 should be worried because Kellen Mond comes in there and he has all the tools that he does not have, that number 8 doesn't have. He's big, he's strong, he can move. And that number 8, or Cousins, was basically stealing money. Well, not really stealing money. He was taking checks from the Vikings. He was basically just taking their money. In other words, RG3 was saying he was not worth a single dime that this guy got. And you got to remember, Kirk Cousins was getting all of the guaranteed money. I mean, he's got 80-something million, and he's already finessed him to it for an additional contract. So, because of that, there's a good chance that Cousins could, be on the block or the chopping block. They could be considering moving on from him. I mean, he signed that 3-year deal, $84 million. Took some bread from them. And then he signed another extension of 2 more years. $66 million, so $33 million a year, 2 more years for a quarterback who doesn't do very well in big games. And it's more so his performance is really, 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 really bad. But he does throw for like 4,000 yards every year. I mean, he almost threw for 5,000 one year with Washington. And to me, I like Kirk Cousins as much as Washington liked Kirk Cousins when he was there. To the point of they were happy for him to play on the franchise tag and to walk away. They did not want to extend him at the money that Kirk Cousins wanted. And he's like, hey, he was like, okay, play on the franchise tag. And then once tags are up, you can leave. We don't need you. That's how much he's loved. So, moving on. My Tampa Bay Buccaneers got your boy excited. Not really at all, actually. They drafted Kyle Trask. And the question everyone asking is Trask going to be the future of the Buccaneers? Good thing for Kyle is he gets to sit behind Tom Brady for at least 2 years. He's not going to play before that at all. He was a second-round pick. So, being that he was picked in the second round, even though it was a 64th pick, like the last pick in the second round, as a second rounder, that's typically when a quarterback is selected that they feel is going to eventually become the starter in a couple of years. Either the next year or the year after. Within the next 3 years, he is expected to be a starting quarterback. Now, I don't know how it really works with the late second rounders, but typically a second round quarterback. Look at Drew Lock. He's the quarterback of the Broncos. Drew Brees, when he was drafted by the Chargers, etc., so on. When you're typically drafted in the second round, you're expected to play. We know that he's not going to take Tom Brady's job. So I guess the Buccaneers feel like he is project enough. I mean, he's a big boy, 6'5", 240. He's strong. He's got little bit of get up on him, and he knows how to move around the pocket. So there may be a chance that he becomes the future. He could be the next Brad Johnson. Go out there and just throw it the way it needs to be thrown and follow the game plan that Brian Leftwich puts in front of you. Could be a good chance. Even from there, they drafted Jaylon Darden. He is basically everybody's favorite type of wide receiver that Tom Brady loves. He's short. He's undersized. He's quick. He is this is what he's like. He's 5'8", 173. The fast scat back slot guy that just goes. Played in North Texas. Small school guy. Probably a player that the Buccaneers are pretty excited about pulling in. And so that's a big one. Now, say at the beginning of the video, ask the question, who's going to be the guy that wears a white suit while eating barbecue? A la the next Chase Daniels, the legend at the bank, the guy that goes to the bank and the bank teller looks at them and asks them, so what do you do for a living? Because they're obviously not going to play any type of games. I'm curious to what quarterback that's going to be. So I had 5 guys I was looking at, and I think I know which one it could be. So I'm looking at Mitchell Trubisky. He's definitely not getting the starting job anymore. So let me pull back. Chase Daniels was not drafted in 2009, but Chase Daniels has been in the NFL for some years. This is what, 2021, so he's been in the league 11 years. He went undrafted in 2009, and he's just been a journeyman. He spent 3 years in New Orleans. He spent 2 years in Kansas City, year in Philly, back in New Orleans, Chicago for 2 years, Detroit, and now he's a Charger. At his size, 6'2", 229, out of Missouri. He's good enough to be out there and play. The man has 6 career starts. I'm sorry, 5 career starts. I gave him 1 extra. He has 5 career starts. He's played in some games, not very much, but he has 5 career starts. And the man has made some money. He's made some money. He's made $34 million so far in his career. In 5 starts. He's played 60-something games. But he's only started 5. And he's made $34 million in his 11-year career. Who can be the next guy? Basically, Chase Daniels is the guy that's willing to eat barbecue while wearing a white suit, knowing damn well he is not going to drip anything. He ain't getting dirty, not one bit. He may have some sort of Tide spray on stuff to protect him or something, but he knows that he ain't going to ever get dirty. He just goes out there and makes the magic happen. So I'm curious to who will be that next guy. We got in this draft, we had Davis Mills, who the Texans just drafted. So that tells me behind Tyrod Taylor, he's probably going to end up being the starting quarterback. Unfortunately, for Tyrod, we know that he's not the future. Ian Book is someone, and I've heard a few people talk about him, that he's been talked about a lot as of lately as a sleeper by a few of the talking heads that I've listened to. But he was drafted by the Saints. Kellen Mond, who's a Viking, third round. I don't think he's going to end up being that position. Kyle Trask was another one I had. Don't see that now happening because Trask will probably get a lot more game than I would probably expect. Especially since he's going to be backing up Tom Brady. He's most likely going to be the guy to... he's probably going to be the heir apparent for now. We got another year to determine if that's actually what's going to happen. Outside of that, Sam Ellinger got picked up by the Chargers. The Colts, Indianapolis Colts. So he's backing up Carson Wentz as well as Jacoby Brissett. He might end up being our legend. He's got the size and the tools to do it. He can run. And he could either be a gadget guy or he could just be consistent enough at passing to where he sticks. He could be. So that's 5 guys. I'm curious which one of those will be our white suit barbecue eater. We'll see what that looks like. We'll talk more about that. Got to see what y'all's opinions are. Let us know. It's up on the fan line. Let me know what you think on that.